it's kind of my job to do all different kinds of events and to do theatrical promotions of some sort or another. And I've been a huge supporter of marriage equality in New York and for different fights throughout. And I would love to get you guys' opinions about what can we do who are not out there lobbying for the government or out there, you know, doing the Human Rights Watch and doing the studies and whatnot, just who have jobs, who wake up in the morning, who go to bed, you know what I mean? What can we do that's specific that you think could really make a change at this point? Like, is there a certain directive that you could potentially give those of us who are kind of like, yay, but unsure where we can put our, I guess, our energy?
Difficult but important question. I think awareness is the most important thing, and what you can do is do what you want, but express yourself in a way in which you feel yourself comfortable and which is very professional and which, yeah, is based on the good values. Because I think when you emphasize the equal rights, not everyone is equal, but everyone has to have the equal rights. People really understand. Maybe Boris, Dittrich, you told me about a demonstration in Jerusalem, and that even there was a police, the head officer of the police force said, well, we don't make it very political today. Just people have the right to demonstrate, so they can demonstrate for gay rights, even it's my opinion or not. And I think that's very important to let the awareness grow and do it in many different ways.
I would like to answer your question by stating how important it is to have role models. People who dare to speak up and people who don't necessarily have to be politicians or, but people who have a great appeal to the general public. I remember because as Advocacy Director for Human Rights Watch, I was studying material and writing reports and doing heavy stuff. But I remember that one day, about 2 years ago, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie said to the press, well, we're not going to get married unless gay people can get married. That would be for us the reason to also get married. And then I thought, yeah, that is really so much more important than writing a lot of reports, because so many people picked that up, that one sentence, and realized, hey, it's actually ridiculous that there is still inequality and not everybody can marry the partner he or she chooses. So I would encourage people to be a role model on the work floor, you know, where they are working, or in their sports club, or wherever. But in all segments of society, it's very important, especially for younger people, to look up to somebody who dares to speak up.
I would just add that it's really important to have those important conversations with people who are close to you, people who are in a position maybe where they're not part of the LGBT community, but they are an ally who could speak up and say that they also stand for it. It's very important to have those conversations within your community, within your workplace, like he said, and also to make sure that you're also checking in with organizations on a state level, on a local level, to see how you can help in your spare time in a few minutes a day, whether it's phone calls, whether it's handwritten letters. They all do have an impact. So those would be the ways that I would suggest.
And I think the only thing I would have to add to those very thoughtful comments is to not defer too much to the lawyers and to the politicians. One of the things that, as someone who has been working in civil rights law my entire life, I feel that, or my entire professional life, I feel that one of the things that people need to get over in this country is the idea that civil rights is a special province of lawyers. Because I think that particularly with respect to gay rights, where so many of us are invisible to the people who are around us, we can't really be relying on the tiny sliver of us who are lawyers, and this is something that has to be done by the citizenry at large. So one of the great talks that I have heard about is the dean of a... I would want to say the same thing to people who are students of mine, and I do say the same thing to our students of mine, which is to say, don't hold lawyers in too much awe, like never underestimate. This is now philosopher or the anthropologist Margaret Mead saying to never underestimate the power of a committed group of citizens to get something accomplished. So if we look at the real civil rights advances that were made in this country, we can think about, Thurgood Marshall and Brown versus Board of Education, thinking about the racial civil rights context, but we also think about Rosa Parks, right? And it's hard to argue that one of those made a bigger difference than the other.